So when Cloverfield came out in 2008, I remember feeling kind of like, not like terribly impressed with it. Like, I never thought it was a bad movie, but I always suspected over the years that, like, it was just the hype around it. That the critical, like, ravings about the movie and, like, fan ravings kind of like, same thing happened with me when I watched The Ring, you know, where I was sort of like, I heard that it was like literally like the scariest fucking thing that had been to theaters in like at least a decade, and I was like, wow. And I went out to theaters to see it, and I'm like, oh, okay, like it was scary, but like I would have enjoyed it more if it hadn't been like hyped up so goddamn much. Like I feel like I actually would have found it scarier if I wasn't expecting it to be 10 million times scarier. And I sort of feel that the same thing happened with Cloverfield. However, I literally just finished watching the first one now, and there's a reason for this. A couple days ago, I watched 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I'll get to that, all right? But because of that, on Hulu, I noticed that they also had the original Cloverfield, so I literally, after having watched Cloverfield Lane, I watched the original Cloverfield again, and I don't know what the hell my problem was, honestly. My guess is I was sort of like distracted by something, like I wasn't fully paying attention to the movie, because it was really fucking cool. It was like the inside perspective of like if Godzilla ever fucking attacked the city. You know, whenever you watch a Godzilla movie, you just see him like fucking knocking down buildings and shit, and you don't think twice about it because it's Godzilla. But you don't think about any of the people on the ground. You don't think about like their perspective, what they were going through in life, like, you know, when this gigantic fucking monster literally started destroying their hometown. It's always somebody who like knows Godzilla, like there's some scientist or something like that. Well, this movie was basically like Godzilla without that part, you know. It was sort of like it caught all of the main characters totally unawares. The main characters were very well, like, you know, kind of fleshed out and stuff, which I'm not surprised because J.J. Abrams has produced both of the Cloverfield movies. But yeah, I do not know what the hell my problem was. But the thing that, after all these years, inspired me to watch it was, and you have probably seen on one of my earlier videos, that I was watching 10 Cloverfield Lane a couple nights ago. And I had heard from friends that that was great. I had heard that John Goodman's performance was fucking fantastic. And so I was like, you know what the hell, it's on Hulu now, like I don't have to pay for it, and I really enjoyed the shit out of it. And my fiance came home like more towards the end. When she's on the edge of her seat, she can't ever just like experience a movie, like she has to know what happens, so she like Googled the ending, and I don't know the movie. I'm like, don't say shit, I don't want to fucking know what happens, I don't want to hear it. And so she's just like, well, this is awful, it just gets worse and worse. And I'm like, okay, all right, well, you know, kind of like the first one, you know. So I'm sitting here watching it, and everything that I've heard about it is absolutely true. John Goodman is great. He made me fucking terrified because he's a fucking big dude. He's like 6 foot plus, and he's like, you know, heavy. And I'm not even saying, like, I'm not calling him a fat ass or anything like that. The dude's built like a fucking truck driver, man. Like, if you pissed him off, he could take your fucking head off. I guarantee it. He's a fucking big boy. Granted, it was partially that he was just sort of like towering over the other characters. But it was his performance. Like, he did not hold back. Like, he made me terrified. Like, when he would get pissed off, it's like, yo, dude, I feel like I was like in that little pit with them. I was like, okay, guys, let's fucking chill out. Let's not piss him off, okay? He also made me laugh. Like, there were a few scenes that I feel were meant for a laugh, where you actually start to kind of like sympathize with him, even if maybe he is a little, like, he does in his own mind think that he's doing a good thing. He does, like, to some degree care about other human beings. The dude's just a fucking wacko, you know? And this is all, like, very coincidental when you see where the movie goes. I'm not going to spoil it. But he also successfully made me feel, like, really bad for him. Like, stuff happens as the movie goes on, and I feel sort of bad, actually, about the way his character gets left. I was sort of like, wow, it really sucks. I actually feel kind of bad for that guy. He's, like, a fucking psycho, but, like, I don't know. I just felt bad for him. Like, you know, that's all the signs of, like, a very, very, very good performance. The thing that I do like about 10 Cloverfield Lane is it does tie in loosely with Cloverfield. It is, at least, it's meant to be assumed that it's all part of the same, like, story being told from different perspectives. But this was a completely different type of movie. Like, the first one was, like, a monster movie from the inside, and it's almost like the second one is kind of somewhere along that same timeline. It's basically like a suspense movie about these characters that are confined to this one location And that's about as like explicit as I want to get about it. But it's really fascinating, and I hear that these are, obviously just going to be like 2 movies in a series of movies yet to come, and I'm really actually excited to see where it goes because they were both good. I wouldn't even consider one to be a sequel to the other. I mean, it's like part of the same universe, but it's not like, Cloverfield 2. And the fact that they were able to do 2 completely different, almost like 2 different genres of movie having to do with the same thing. I actually find that like really impressive, and I would hope that whatever film they do next is in its own right like a completely different kind of movie. I mean, I trust J.J. Abrams as an executive producer to these movies. I trust J.J. Abrams with just about everything. I would trust J.J. Abrams like alone naked with my fiance. But seriously, dude, J.J. Abrams is like a fucking boss. Like, he is the modern, in my opinion, J.J. Abrams is the modern day Spielberg. What he directs is gold. What he executive produces is gold. He has revitalized like the golden age of American cinema, but he's adapted to like the new sort of cynicism that's out there. Like, these movies are bigger, they're better, the special effects are great. The J.J. Abrams is a fucking god. But at any rate, that's another video. I can get more like specific on that. But both the Cloverfield movies, if you have not seen them, I would recommend checking them out. It's really cool, and I guarantee that if you get through both of them, you will really genuinely want to know where the series is headed.